so you'll be fine. Yeah, I'm scheduled for August.
I always feel
But I don't think I'm
since
gonna
I
wait.
paid an impression, yeah, you gotta wait.
Well,
Gotta
so
keep
did
reading.
This is too much.
Did you get an appointment?
Okay.
Did you get an appointment? Or no, you don't go there? To the salon?
No,
Oh.
Well, people that went are very happy.
Good. Well, we'll start there.
You'll all be happy to know I have an appointment.
All right.
Yay!
I couldn't get one till August.
Oh,
Well,
really?
that's a good sign,
What?
they're busy.
August.
Yeah, oh my.
Yeah, she's-
All right.
She's gonna try to get another date.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good morning, everyone. And to those that might be viewing, we're talking about the salon. And for the first time in a Coffee with Tyler in a long time, I'm okay talking about the salon. Because, hey, we're open, right? No, much too long. Appreciate everybody's patience through that process. But it sounds like some of you have been able to go physically to the salon. Others have talked with the salon, setting up appointments. Again, we brought back PS Salon, who was our partner back in October of last year. Brought on a new, actually, it's almost been a year now. Brought on a new salon partner. That one didn't work out. And then obviously recontracted with PS Salon. However, the state of Wisconsin didn't approve their license, so it took some time. But nonetheless, we were back open. We are back open, and it's the Contemporary Salon, as we call it. It's on the second floor next to the marketplace. The differences, again, we are not able to do community billing, meaning we can't add it to your bill. So much like a salon that you go to, you pay either via credit card or there's what they call their celebration account, which essentially you load into, you spend $100, I think they give you $5, and there's different promotions throughout the year, and then they draw from that. So right now the hours are just Tuesdays from 9 to 1. I hear that there's maybe booking up till August, so I may be touching base with them. I have to touch base with them and see how the first day went, what they need, and then if they can add a day to that salon. So any other...
What is the salon person's name?
Maria? We'll go with...
I think it's Maria.
I think it's Maria. And I apologize because I missed her on Tuesday. But I'm pretty sure the person is... The stylist's name is Maria for PS Salon. So... And Stacy Abbott is actually going to be, yes, Maria is her name, is going to be kind of that liaison that once we get through the kind of this initial first 90 days, then Stacy will be really the primary contact for PS Salon, but the goal is for them to really be self-sufficient in most regards, contacting you directly, you contacting them directly, so on and so forth.
So it's only one afternoon a month?
No, once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah. So, and again, we may obviously, based on the clientele as well as, because the health center also needs to be serviced, and the memory support neighborhood and assisted living. So I think there's more opportunity here. So that's something that I need to follow back up with them on. So, all right. Any other questions, comments about the salon? All right. Well, then I'll open it up. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Yes.
I've talked to a lot of people, and none of us know which garage we're in.
Oh, probably skewed by the pressure washing of the garages memo that was recently sent out. So we have what we call three garages on site. We have the water tower garage. That's the easiest one to explain because it's in water tower and there's a limited number of spots. That one will be the first one pressure washed on Tuesday next week. Then we have what we call the contemporary garage. So the contemporary garage starts past the treasure chest. So if you're driving into the garage, that is what we consider the contemporary. That is where the majority of residents reside. That is washed on Wednesday. That is going to be a very busy day for the service side parking lot and kind of a hassle. I understand that. we'll work together to get through that. Thursday is what we call our Bradford Terrace garage, and that starts before the treasure chest. So that's when you initially enter the garage and exit the garage. That is the Bradford Terrace garage.
Oh,
So we split up the one garage into two because they're obviously connected, the Contemporary and the Bradford. It's just where you drive and you drive past and there's no parking spots because we have the treasure chest, laundry, some storage, and then you go in and then that's where you start your parking garage. Still owe a mirror as we speak of that.
Yeah, speaking of that.
We still owe a mirror. It should be ordered. So Eric and I actually have a walk around the campus today. We tried to do that at least monthly. He takes me on a number of adventures with HVAC equipment, and we just touch base on everything physical plant wise. So as we talked about the garage, there, as Peter mentioned, we need a mirror, one of those concave type of mirrors for safety. As you're going around some corners, there's some tighter parking spots. Fortunately, nothing's happened yet, but we need to be proactive. So, does that help?
yes.
Okay.
I'll
So,
tell
yes.
as many people as I,
Technically, 2 garages on campus, 2 physical garages, but we break them down into 3.
okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing up that mirror. I've been here 7 years, and I think you would, and 7 years I hold my breath as I turn.
Yeah.
Spot, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want the stuff, if we have stuff in front of our car, is that needed?
That would be preferred. If you can move, good point. If you have items in front of your car, if you could also move those temporarily. Again, anything that is left behind, the team is going to do their best to work around. But the best case scenario for everybody involved is to try to remove and make the garage as empty as possible for that day. It's going to be able to be the most efficient for the team and the cleanest for us as a whole. So yes, if you have some items in front of your cars, if you can remove those temporarily, that would be fantastic.
I told Eric about this, but I doubt that he's remembered. In front of my car, there is a whole stack of bricks. And then there's some old bumper things for parking. They're in boxes, they've never been opened.
What parking spot are you in?
17,
17?
yeah.
All right. I'll make a note of that because Eric and
I know I told him and he said I'd like to look at that and.
Yeah,
I'm sure he
I'll put it
forgot.
on our list to look at, and you didn't put them there, I assume. So we don't have to ask you if it's okay if we remove
No,
them.
you can remove them, it's okay.
I put them there once. When she
I was gonna say, is it somebody in this room that's putting some things? Fair enough.
Yeah,
Did you open it? What did it?
What else?
those bumper things that you put in front of cars, to stop them from moving. At least that's what it says on the box.
What other questions? Well, I can give a few updates. Obviously, CG Schmidt will be coming tomorrow to provide their formal, construction presentation. We also have the opportunity to have a special guest of Eric Schmidt. I don't know if any of you know Eric Schmidt, but CG Schmidt, Eric Schmidt, President and CEO. He's actually going to be joining the presentation tomorrow. He's actually going to be, it's going to be kind of unique in my eyes because it's not often we get the president and CEO of a large company here to speak to our group, but he's also going to go through some of the history of CG Schmidt and their impact on the east side and Milwaukee as a whole. If you didn't know, CG Schmidt are the ones that really constructed the museum, the art museum. And I've actually heard snippets of some of the interesting things that went on in that construction. But their storied history of over 100 years. They're 102 years old, I believe now. And obviously the Northwestern Mutual Building is another big feat that they were able to accomplish. But again, the breadth and really the history that they have, I think Eric will be able to expound on because it is family, kind of from the ground up. And so it's quite phenomenal. as well as kind of an update where we currently are from an East Castle Place standpoint from Pete Burry, our superintendent. So we'll talk about Bradford Terrace, what's going on there, as well as what you see going through the main dining room and the interior courtyard. And that's probably where we'll stop, because that's really the next two months is a really big focus on that. Have any of you peeked into the dining room?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
So
exciting.
the demolition is done in that space. There's a few drains and things they're still working through, but then you start seeing wood beams and some framing of the construction for that. So again, the plan is November to have the main dining room back open. I have to check on the furniture because that's really the big driver. That's been on order for a number of weeks, but the lead time for furniture is quite long. So
Rollers on the front wheels.
rollers on the front wheels, absolutely. We made sure of that this time. So yes, rollers in the front wheel. I had a resident ask yesterday about the private dining rooms. So we will still have 2 private dining rooms.
That's nice.
The one private dining room is where, again, the majority of you know where it will be. It will remain kind of towards the back of the dining room. And then that circle table dining room off where the bistro was, that's actually moving now to the other side of the dining room.
Nice.
So your new entrance for the dining room is not going to be across from Lindsay Hall. It's going to be across from really where the club room is currently. So again, we'll work through that and shift some things around. So it's exciting because once that's done, then the real gymnastics, as I like to call them, start, because then they flip over to the other side. And the mailroom, I'm confident in that. We'll have a mailroom for you, and but we're gonna keep that mailroom really intact with minimizing the shutdown. So the shutdowns may happen from a 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then back open in the morning and things of that nature. So I know that was a question that had come up previously, but yeah. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves or over our skis, so to speak, because again, there's a lot going on that's in front of us right now. So
Could I say, excuse me, I think all of us are very impressed with how neat they are. Every day they clean up after themselves.
Yes, it's really.
wonderful. I will pass that along.
The exhaust takes the dust out.
Yeah.
It's really marvelous.
Yeah.
But my question is it a different company that's working out in the courtyard?
So CG Schmidt is the general contractor, right? So they are the ones that are moving all the pieces. We have 8 different companies on site. So we have the plumber, the HVAC, we have a low voltage in technology, so to speak. Outside in the courtyard, it's VEET. They are the ones doing the demolition, and KEI will come in and do the reconstruction of the courtyard. And then we also have electrical and some other specialty trades, construction, and then obviously the demolition crew of CG Schmidt, and they're doing some self-perform. So yes, to your question, it's not CG Schmidt that's doing that actual work. I believe it's VEET. And then KEI will come in, but CG Schmidt is ultimately responsible for the work that's being done.
This seems like perfect weather to be out there moving dirt, and they didn't do anything all day yesterday, and they're not out there today.
Good question, because I also had a question of that. They ran into a large electrical line that they had to kind of rework the plans in. Thankfully, they didn't run into it because we still have lights, which is good. But now they had to go back to the architect and revamp some of the plans. So that's why you're seeing the stagnant courtyard.
Well, I've been supervising.
I know.
Yeah.
I figured there would be a couple supervisors because I had a couple questions myself when they initially took down their first gasp of the trees and things, and then no work was being done for the rest of the week. It's like, what are we doing?
It's hard to envision that big pipe that's coming.
Yep. So that's they had that, and then there's some electrical in there that they ran into that they have to rework. So that's why the delay. But they hope that next week the rebar will start, will be here. That's the other thing, there's a slight delay in that, but then they'll actually start the ramp that is going to be connecting back into the building. So you'll see a lot more work hopefully in the next week.
So they'll start on the ramp next week?
Yeah. Yep. That is the plan, and then the retaining wall.
Interesting to watch.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch, and then the retaining wall, the new retaining wall as well, because then obviously
KEI is doing that? Or who does
KEI
that?
is, yep. And then obviously there's a lot more concrete that needs to go in, and then obviously more soil and dirt in preparation for next year's planting. So yeah. Because actually I talked with Jordan, who's the project manager yesterday. I actually walked the courtyard yesterday and said, hey, what's kind of going on? He's like, well, we have to do this and this. I'm like, can we just go walk it? He's like, yeah, let's go. So that's where he showed me a large electrical line that, is necessary, I guess, for the community. Might need it. Exactly. So that's really the update. The other one, third floor memory support neighborhood, I'm just looking around to see if we have any loved ones in here, is getting some work that's starting next week. Those families and loved ones and staff have all been communicated with. So our CBRF, our memory support neighborhood, is going underneath some much needed renovations, from carpeting, paint, flooring, and we're also adding an activity space in our memory support neighborhood, kind of central, that will help expand kind of that neighborhood a little bit. So that demolition work and construction work is starting next week. On the 18th, they're setting up a temporary wall. And then really the 25th is kind of target for some carpeting. So we're working very closely with the families and the staff. Obviously that space is remaining occupied. Obviously that's a fantastic population, but we need to be very cognizant of kind of what that population is going through. And so I think we'll have a lot of supervisors on that floor, but also trying to think outside the box and in minimizing the time that we're impacting them. But putting down brand new carpeting, taking up old carpeting, putting down the skimming coat that's necessary. It'll be interesting. CG Schmidt, again, nothing new to them, outside of every time is a little bit new experience, but just working closely with them. So that's kind of that third phase of Bradford Terrace that they're going to start next week.
What about if they're taking down a wall, do they have to do the abatement for that section there too?
Yes. Yep. So fortunately, that testing has been done, and the walls weren't necessarily the abatement issue. It was really what's wrapped around the plumbing in some of those rooms, as well as some things in the ceiling. And so they're not really disturbing that. So if they don't disturb it, then they don't have to necessarily abate it. But obviously the proper precautions would be taken if there was any abatement needed. And again, much like what you already mentioned, the dust, the filters, all of that will be, very, very, monitored and things of that nature. So that's the update.
What's the timeline for moving assisted living?
Great question.
How is the apartments?
So the timeline, the timeline for the move of assisted living residents, Lindsay and Carmen Jacobson started meeting with families one-on-one this week. We had the initial presentation about 2 or 3 weeks ago to the assisted living folks about what's happening. Obviously, we have told them prior to this, but the actual move is tentatively scheduled for October, November. We say tentative because CG Schmidt has, like I said, run into a few snags in Bradford Terrace, so their schedule's slightly delayed. They're still looking to make up all that time. Their plan is to kind of bring that back to us in September, but then we have to get licensed, and that licensure process can take up to 60 business days for the state of Wisconsin to come in. And once we license them, then we do the move. And so what Lindsay and Carmen are really talking to families are right now are what the apartments they would like price ranges and things of that nature, talking through amenities, talking through any of those potential concerns that the families have. And then obviously East Castle Place is going to be responsible for those moves, for the physical moves, so that really the residents are kind of saying, I want this, this, and this. We have movers move everything, and then they themselves just then have to move. So really not putting that on the family or the resident themselves. So again, October, November is tentative time frame. If that pushes up, great. Because obviously the goal then is, once those residents move out, then we shut the doors to water tower. And then they go, kind of bring on 40 to 60 contractors a day in this building, taking the walls down, and then they roughly have a 5 to 6 month schedule for this entire building. To be demolished. 52 rooms currently get put into 30, along with common areas and things of that nature.
Is that part of the Creativity Center project?
So,
and the
great question.
Fitness Center?
Yeah, so great question. So the fitness center, yes, also comes down at that time. The Creativity Center, and I've been talking with a few residents, because we have a plan for still able to provide fitness services, pool and things of that nature when the fitness center is down, but also keeping on-site classes as well as some treadmills and bikes and things that are right here accessible to you. And that's where the Creativity Center comes into play. It's kind of that, I don't like the word makeshift, but makeshift gym area in the interim. And we can't have the Creativity Center down at the same time as the rest of the fitness center. So again, that's where I'm working with CG Schmidt to make sure that whether that Creativity Center is done ahead of time, in my mind, it makes sense to do it after the fitness center is back out of there. So then you get a brand new Creativity Center that's truly a Creativity Center. So that would maybe come after the fact once the fitness center is back open and things. Because that renovation, there's no physical walls or anything really moving. It's more cabinet finishes and more functional space. So that is the plan. To Stacy and William have already talked about what types of equipment can get into the Creativity Center, as well as many of the classes are taking place in the Creativity Center. Because we still want Lucia and Willie to be able to provide personal training and things of that nature throughout this project. Yes?
You mentioned that the city of Milwaukee will take 60 business days to get that license through. Couldn't we put some pressure on the political system to get that done sooner?
If it were the city, maybe. It's the state that has to come.
Well, we have
and
a state
license.
senator
But yeah, I mean, again,
that's
I'm-
running for office.
yeah, we are in conversation with the state. We think we can push that timeline and potentially say we are already licensed. They are purely moving apartments. So we'll get a city inspection, a certificate of occupancy, and we're just going to move the license within the same walls. And we have a life safety inspection from the state of Wisconsin, and then we're just going to move the license over. And so that should minimize. We're planning for the worst of 60 full business days. So in my mind, at this point, think we can definitely impact that schedule and push things up.
I always think they're weaker too.
I'll let you know.
Let CG Schmidt ask them.
Yeah.
But that's possible.
All right. I'll ask, because I have a call with the Bureau of Assisted Living later today and tomorrow. Lindsay had calls with them yesterday, so they're definitely knowing what's coming. And again, they already have approved the plans. All the plans have already had to go through that preliminary approval from an architectural standpoint. So again, it's more of the programmatic standpoint that they come in, just dot the I's, cross the T's, which we're hoping can happen very quickly. What else?
Are we gonna be able to make pickles this year?
Yes.
Important question.
Get to the important.
Thank you. Pickles need to happen.
And you have the recipe.
We do? Yeah, somebody does.
Somebody does.
Somebody.
I think Scott has.
Yeah, Scott and Cooper do.
It's private.
Yeah. What else?
I have one.
Yes.
Being a very short person, ever since we moved in here, I've thought, is there any way that I can actually get something above the first shelf in my kitchen? I mean, really, and I can't lift the windows because they're huge windows, and I can't do that. And there's just so many little things that I know we can't stand on a ladder, right? I've been told that we can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preferably, honey. Preferably.
But nevertheless, it really does cut down on a lot of ability to do things and get them done in the apartment.
So, I guess what solutions can we help provide you?
Do you have one of those little grippers? You know, that you
Little
squeeze? Huh?
A little gripper?
Yeah, they're fabulous.
Well, you have to show me this because
You
I
have to
I'll
show
try
the
to go
meat
get
too.
it.
Yeah.
I'll go up and get one.
Oh, you don't have to do it now. We can do it after. You know,
But I mean, again, I'll talk with Eric, see what we can problem solve, and then just kind of maybe walk through your apartment and see if there's different things that we can do.
Okay, there's another thing. And Michael is very clean in his steps in the apartment, but in his office, he didn't have a plastic runner for his chair next to his desk. And he has oil stains all over the place. And I don't know what to do about that. And I don't know who put oil in the runners. I have a feeling it wasn't Michael though.
Let me, I'll talk to Ian and see if we can spot clean in your apartment, okay? Sure. What's your apartment number, Penny?
3318.
Thank you.
And we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Yes?
I know this is perhaps not the place, but for some reason, somebody thought I had the COVID. Right.
Okay.
I'd been away for several days, and my son-in-law called me and told me that he had tested positive. He's a doctor, and he suggested that I tell the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the test. It was negative. Somebody said that I had been put in quarantine. I simply was worn out from travel. It's not easy for a 39-year-old lady to travel. And so I stayed in my apartment. I slept all that time. I just want you to put it at ease. I am not. I just got another test today, and I'm negative.
All right.
All good.
Thank you for sharing. And again, that brings up a great point about COVID-19. I actually didn't have to open with that today. We don't have any positive cases of residents nor of staff members right now. Everybody has resided. Everybody has gone through their proper quarantines. The one resident, it was from outside of these walls. The one employee, I can assure you, was outside of these walls as well. So, you know, I don't know where that grapevine started. I always appreciate, you know, you letting us know if you had a close contact, because again, at this point, we've all had a close contact, whether we know it or not. And so, again, that's where we need to manage those symptoms. Obviously, if we are symptomatic, taking the proper precautions, staying put, getting tested, things of that nature, talking to Teresa. But it's never a bad idea that if you spent a weekend with a loved one and then Monday they test positive, letting Teresa know, hey, my loved one who I have very close contact with tested positive. I feel fine. We'll monitor your symptoms. We'll kind of mark you down and just make sure we check in with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow protocol.
Yep. No, always
Sure
appreciate that.
I
But
didn't put anybody in danger.
right. No, and again, at this point, it's pretty well assumed that we all are, you know, we've taken the proper precautions, right? Everybody has their vaccines and things of that nature. And it's going to be around, you know. So yeah. I didn't hear that one, Nikki. I didn't.
I thought they were having to wait for me. People are, oh, well, how are you?
Yeah. So.
He's done.
Well, now we found the root cause. It's right next to you.
She's my BFF.
Heard it through the what did they call it? Heard it through the grapevine.
Grapevine, yep. What else? Any other questions? comments?
How come there are no men here today except you and my husband?
Great question.
I'm
I don't know.
curious.
I don't know.
I'm curious about the men here all the time. I mean, they don't come to much of anything.
They're overwhelmed.
Yeah, they're overwhelmed. There you go.
Too many other
They should
women.
have seen the movie last night.
Yeah. So, well, I'll be out of the office this afternoon. If you haven't heard through the grapevine, my wife and I are expecting another little one. So we are. So I have to go to a doctor's appointment this afternoon with my wife. But overall, everybody's doing well. But come the end of November, there will be another little boy.
Oh, a boy.
So
So 26 months apart?
yeah, roughly.
I keep track.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So Hunter's is October 2nd, and our next one will be the end of November. So.
Congratulations.
So yeah, so very excited. So I will be spending some time out of the office at that time. But yeah, it's been exciting.
Be hard on Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more so our puppy that's getting the brunt of it right now. So 'cause Hunter is very mobile and enjoys chasing her around.
Think about when they're older and you're gonna be such a good friend.
Yep. So yes, that rumor, if you've heard it, is true, and we are very excited. So yeah, just a little bit of personal news. Nothing else.
I hear Hunter and Wesley at the ball game.
Hunter and Wesley were at the ball game together. Yes, Anna's little guy. Pretending,
They were both so well behaved.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really were.
Yeah. Wes made a little bit longer than my
Yeah,
guy.
he did.
But yeah, the Brewers game was fun. It was very
And
fun.
they won.
And they won. Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, and I think you're doing a great job with the dining situation.
Oh,
I mean, the buffets are so well managed.
Good. Yeah.
Very well.
Credit to Majarka, Tim, Mary. Again, you look for some news for Mary. I'm sure you may have heard she's looking to retire. So we'll be doing a little celebration for her here in August. But nonetheless, huge thanks to Tim, Majarka, Sam, Mary, and the entire team, as well as your own resident food and beverage committee that have helped guide some of those decisions. So that we can still have dining experience. I know that it's not the dining experience that we all look forward to when that main dining room comes back and we can have a consistent night in, night out dining. But trying to do the best with what we have. So really appreciate everybody's understanding and patience. And again, I think we got a really, really great food and beverage team, and very excited for what's to come. So.
Well, and that patio.
Yeah.
is the best. That is the 4th of July. I think there were 24 of us out there.
Yeah. So that patio, it was mentioned early on, but that's a kind of a newfound little spot for everyone. And Eric's team, Michael, we were mentioning, Michael is the newest maintenance technician. He's the one that really pressure washed that area and kind of got it up to snuff, and then Dustin and Jesus came back with kind of cleaning up that area from a landscaping standpoint. So, but yeah, that gazebo courtyard is getting probably the most traction in a while. And the rooftop garden too, I hear, is also getting a lot of traffic, which is exciting.
Thank you.
So,
to Tara
yes, thank you.
And everybody on your team.
Is there an illustration of the dining room with all the partitions? You see some like for the club room, but is there an illustration up on a wall someplace for the dining room?
Just
that I
what-
have missed?
Just what's on the dining room, it's like as you're looking into it from the hallway, that's the only illustration we have currently. I can show a floor print of what the dining room looks like at the next State of the Castle.
Okay.
I can do that.
It would be nice to have one of what the courtyard is going to look like.
There is
Oh, there is one.
There is?
It's right in front of the courtyard.
Joanne did it.
Oh, well, it's too handy, I had.
And yes, we do have that illustration, and it was up in the mailroom for some time,
But now they moved it to-
but now
it's
they
a good
moved it
spot.
to the courtyard.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, good
She
spot.
didn't.
It's all in color.
So yeah,
Maybe that's
Mary
what those
didn't
bricks are in the
She
garage.
saw the flowers.
They're just-
Yeah.
She didn't realize
yeah,
that.
maybe.
Yeah.
And that
Is
might
it in the
be
mail front of Polly's?
No.
Yeah.
it's right
Spot?
outside the patio.
I mean, they're
Right
perfect.
where Lindsay Hall is.
Yeah, right across the
Yeah.
Lindsay Hall.
I never walked
Oh.
But yes, there is an illustration.
Oh, we did it with Jim.
She doesn't go to the gym.
Sure, she says all the time.
But-
I go to the third floor.
Oh. Anything else? Well, thanks everyone.
Have a good night.
Appreciate the time and comments. And again, if you ever have questions or concerns, comments, my office is right around the corner there. My door's always open, so feel free. Otherwise, shoot me a phone call, email me. I was out, beginning of July, but I'm back, so I'm excited to be back. So let me know. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, I wanna know how the